104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. And, hey, if it's a good game, we're going to air it. That's why we're going to have Raiders-Chiefs tonight. And to help us preview that game, radio host of The Drive on 610 a.m. in Kansas City, it's Danny Parkins. Danny, do you believe the winner of tonight's game will be rated as the second-best team in the AFC?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I do, but I also don't think it matters. Power rankings in the NFL are complete nonsense. This isn't like the old days of college football with the BCS or even the modern days of college football where the opinions of the College Football Playoff Committee, are there. Obviously, the winner of the AFC West will be at worst the 2 seed because of the relative mediocrity in the AFC North and the AFC South. And I think they still have a shot at the 1 seed if the Patriots stumble down the stretch without Gronk. I don't think this is nearly as good of a Patriots team as we've seen recently. So in terms of legitimately what they can do in the playoffs, the AFC West winner will get at least one home playoff game and at least a bye and maybe home field advantage through the playoffs. But in terms of, the second best team in the AFC 3/4 of the way through the season, this week ESPN's power rankings had the Steelers and the Ravens above the Chiefs, not to mention the Raiders, who the Chiefs had already beat straight up, and the Patriots in the AFC. And I don't think anyone thinks legitimately that the Chiefs are the 5th best team in the conference. So all that matters is where you're ranked at the end of the year.
Danny, as we've been getting ready for this game, we had Joe Fortenbaugh from Oakland on the other day, and he said that this is a slam dunk loss for the Raiders. Is he right, or is he just a terrible human being making me cry?
I don't think he's trying to make you cry. I don't know the man, but it's definitely not a slam dunk loss. I can't really. I mean, listen, it's going to be as good of a home field advantage as any team has this year. It's freezing here in Kansas City. So you would think that the passing games for both teams will be limited. Obviously, the Raiders and Derek Carr rely on their passing game more than the Chiefs do with Alex Smith, but the Chiefs also can't really run the ball. Raiders are bad against the run. Chiefs are bad against the run statistically. So I think these teams are really even. The Chiefs just kind of reinvent new ways to win. Last week against the Falcons, they had a pick 6 and a pick 2 by Eric Berry in the same game. There have been 3 different games this year where the Chiefs have been, according to in-game live projection models, less than a 2% chance to win, and they won all 3 of them. But then they played really poorly and lost to Tampa. So the Chiefs are not some sort of world-beating juggernaut that are just blowing teams out by 21 points every game. I think the Raiders could very easily come into Arrowhead and beat them. I think that the Vegas line of Chiefs -3, Chiefs -3.5 is 100% spot on.
We've got Danny Parkins with us. He's the host of The Drive on 610 a.m. in Kansas City, getting us ready for Raiders-Chiefs tonight right here on 104.5 The Team.
Who deserves the most credit for the success of the Chiefs this season? Is it Andy Reid?
Yeah, it probably is Andy Reid, to be honest with you. He is always an awesome coach Monday through Saturday, and then sometimes his clock management stuff or his pass versus run ratio and things like that leave a lot to be desired on Sunday. But also just in terms of locker room culture, player development has been incredible. I mean, the Chiefs are deep, man. On their defensive line, Allen Bailey and Jay Howard are out, and a guy who goes by the nickname of Nacho, Rakeem Nunez-Roches, has come on and been really good. Not Chris Jones, the first guy they picked in the draft, and Dontari Poe. John Dorsey, their general manager, deserves a lot of credit for it, but Jeremy Maclin has been hurt. Jamal Charles is out. I mentioned the 2 defensive linemen. Peters has missed time. Dee Ford has missed time. It's been, kind of a revolving door, a different cast of characters every week. And like I said earlier, they just find ways to win. And to a man, they all credit their head coach for that.
Danny, who's going to be the difference makers tonight for the Chiefs? I mean, we know how good they are. You went through a bunch of the injuries. I mean, is Maclin even going to play? Who's the guy that if you're a Raiders fan, you're watching for in your mind tonight?
Maclin will play. It'll be the first time in a month. He played in a little over a month. He played in the Colts game, was limited, came back, played 8 snaps in the Jaguars game, did nothing, and hasn't played since. So Maclin will be out there. It'll definitely be a big storyline to see if he can help the passing game emerge. But Travis Kelce's the guy. Travis Kelce is the only player in the NFL this year to have 3 straight games with over 100 receiving yards, and he's got that streak currently going, which if you think about Julio Jones and Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham, that's just ridiculous that nobody has had 100-plus 3 straight games. They're finally targeting him, and they're finally targeting him more accurately down the field. And Travis Kelce's the best yards after the catch tight end in the sport. And with Carl Joseph out for the Raiders in the secondary and an already depleted Raiders defense, I think that there's a really good chance that you see 4 straight 100-yard games for Travis Kelce tonight.
We'll get a prediction from you in a second here, but at first I have to talk about my beloved Syracuse Orange. You are a Syracuse guy, and we had one of your pals, Andrew Filipponi, on, and he crushed poor Syracuse football and Dino Babers and what he believes is going to be the future. And now I'm watching Syracuse basketball lose 2 hours east here in Albany. Do I need to now be concerned about Coach Jim Boeheim's team now that they've lost 3 games and it's only December?
I mean, no, they're flawed, man. Like, I feel like they're the exact same team as last year with Andrew White in the Malachi Richardson role. Like, they're going to make the tournament. They're going to be probably a little underappreciated. They'll get better as the year goes on. Obviously, they need better guard play than they've gotten so far this year. Obviously, Roberson has been terrible this year, but we know that Roberson has much more to his game than he showed in the first quarter of the season. They're a team that is overly reliant on three-pointers, and most college kids can't shoot three-pointers, but Tyler Lydon and Andrew White can. So if they get hot in the tournament, they can upset teams, and if they shoot poorly in the tournament, they could lose to a 13 seed. Like, I mean, I think the Syracuse team is not very complicated to figure out, and they obviously lost a legitimate NBA player. Not that Richardson, he's in the D-League right now, but he's averaging like 25 a game in the D-League. So, you know, they lost a real talent last year, but I think they'll be fine, and I could never put worry and Jim Boeheim in the same sentence, at least for me.
Thank goodness. All right.
All right, now that our Cuse homer has picked your brain, Danny, here we go. The Chiefs, in my mind, as somebody who watches the Raiders closest, they are the scariest game left of the 4. What is your actual prediction for this game this evening?
I think 23-20. Is maybe the way it goes. Maybe 24-21 if it's too cold to kick field goals. But I do think it's a 3-point game, and I think that you go with the home team. A road team on Thursday Night Football that played later last week than the Chiefs did last week. Like that's a tough thing to overcome for anybody. The home field advantage tilts even more in the direction on Thursday night. Weird things happen on Thursday night, as you guys know. It's the toughest game in the NFL weekly to predict. So Arrowhead at night for the division for a chance for a home playoff game against the hated Oakland Raiders. Like I said earlier, it'll be the best home field advantage that any team in the NFL has had this year. So I'll go slightly to the Chiefs, but I'm a Vegas guy. So if you're a 3-point favorite, that means you win 54, 55% of the time outright. So I legitimately believe this game is a coin flip.
You didn't crush my hopes as much as I thought you would, so I really appreciate you. And if we ever have Kansas City questions, I want to bring you back on if that's okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, I'm not trying to, I'm not a homer here. The Raiders are good. The Raiders have the better quarterback. The Raiders have the better wide receiving core. The Raiders have the better offensive line. The Raiders have one of, maybe not the best defensive player on the field, but 1A, 1B with Justin Houston and Marcus Peters. Like, this is an evenly matched game.
Listen, as long as whoever wins this game takes out New England, I'm happy.
Yes, I think we're all ready to see someone other than the Patriots represent the AFC in the Super Bowl.
Danny Parkins, 6:10 a.m. in Kansas City. We appreciate your help today, getting us ready, and I hope you. I hope you're close to right. I just hope the score goes the other way.
I get it, man. And enjoy the game. Thanks for having me on, guys.